You're paying extra. The label says finest, number one, the best. The question is whether that label means anything at all, or whether you're just funding a more expensive sticker. I've gone through the ingredient data and the blind taste test results. Here is every major UK premium supermarket range, ranked from worst to best. Let's get into it. Number 9. Asda Extra Special. Asda Extra Special has been around since the early 2000s. That's over 2 decades to get this right. They haven't. Start with the consumer data, because this isn't a close call. Sentiment surveys consistently place Extra Special at the absolute bottom of the UK premium tier. And the feedback isn't mixed or nuanced, it's pointed. Shoppers describe the range as having an artificial taste profile in its processed products, erratic availability on shelves, and a quality that frequently can't justify the markup over Asda's own standard range, let alone justify any comparison with the ranges higher up this list. Now look at the structural problem. Asda Extra Special is trying to operate as a premium range inside a supermarket that is itself positioned at the value end of the Big Four. When your parent brand is competing on price and you're simultaneously trying to run a credible luxury tier on top of that, something has to give. What gives is usually ingredient quality, production standards, or both. The Issa Brothers acquisition in 2021 made this worse. Since the takeover, cost-cutting has become the dominant business logic at Asda, executive decisions that flow downstream into every tier of the product range. A 2022 salmonella recall on own-brand chicken, a 2023 listeria issue in coleslaw, multiple recalls for undeclared allergens. One incident is unfortunate, this is a pattern. Look at the award performance. In the Quality Food Awards, Asda's best recent result was a silver for their jalapeno chili beef quarter pounders. One product, one silver award. Against ranges higher on this list that are collecting golds and category wins across multiple judges and competitions, that is a thin return for a range that has been running for 20 years. There's also the store environment problem. Premium products need a premium context. Blind taste tests mean nothing if the product isn't consistently on the shelf when you go to find it, and Asda stores have faced sustained criticism for declining stock levels and standards in recent years. Asda Extra Special is a premium range in name only. It sits at number 9 not because of one bad product or one bad year, it's because of consistent, systemic failure to deliver what the label promises. The name is doing more work than the food. Number 8. Co-op Irresistible. The Co-op's premium range is called Irresistible. It is unfortunately quite easy to resist once you've looked at the numbers. Here's the central problem with Co-op Irresistible. The price positioning is completely disconnected from the shopping context. The Co-op operates primarily as a convenience retailer. Convenience retail charges more than large format supermarkets, everyone understands this, and most people accept it. But when you then layer a premium own-label surcharge on top of a convenience surcharge, you end up at price points that rival M&S and Waitrose, without anything resembling the quality, range depth, or shopping experience that makes those retailers worth the money. A 2023 investigation found that a basket of 48 common items at Co-op cost £71.70 compared to £56.53 at Aldi. This was one example. That's 27% more expensive before you've touched anything with a premium label. The Irresistible range sits above that baseline. You're paying at the top end of the market for a range that is, at best, competent. Now, the products themselves. Irresistible does produce genuine standouts. Their Cornish sea-salted caramel mousse, featuring what they describe as champagne barrel-aged vanilla, an ingredient specifically developed to create a bespoke point of difference, is a legitimately interesting product that shows real development investment. When the Co-op commits to an idea, the results can surprise you. The problem is consistency and scale. Irresistible has approximately 350 SKUs. That is the smallest premium range on this list, by some margin. With only 350 products to make your case as a premium destination, every single one needs to deliver. Too many don't, and 350 products in a convenience store format means this was never a serious attempt to compete. As a weekly premium destination, it's a range built for impulse purchases on the way home. That's a fundamentally different value proposition from every other range on this list. The ethical positioning adds a final layer of tension. The Co-op markets itself as the community-focused, values-led alternative to corporate supermarkets. charging premium prices in convenience locations that are disproportionately used by people without access to a car and a large format store is an ethic that the branding doesn't comfortably accommodate. Co-op irresistible at number 8. Occasionally excellent, fundamentally overpriced and built for the wrong context. Number 7. Morrisons the best. This one requires nuance because Morrisons the best is a genuinely split verdict, and it is the most frustrating range on this list because embedded within it is something that could rank much higher. On meat specifically, it might be the strongest offer on this list. Morrisons is unique among UK supermarkets in owning its own abattoirs and processing facilities, which gives it a level of supply chain control that no other major retailer can replicate. The result is Aberdeen Angus beef with superior marbling, 100% British beef, lamb and pork with genuine farm-to-fork traceability, and a product quality that earned Morrisons the title of Multiple Meat Retailer of the Year in 2024. Their truffle and pecorino dip picked up a silver at the Quality Food Awards in the same period. If you are buying steak, lamb or British pork from a supermarket premium range, the best is a serious competitor for your money. So why number 7? Because a premium range has to function as a range, and outside of the meat category, the best is undone by factors that have nothing to do with ingredient quality. Start with the store environment. Shoppers consistently describe Morrisons as having a dreadful physical shopping experience. Narrower aisles, darker atmospheres, a general presentation that makes the premium price tag feel unjustified. This matters more than it might seem. A premium product on a well-lit shelf in a thoughtfully designed food hall is a psychologically different product from the same item under strip lighting next to a reduced for quick sale sticker. Context shapes perception, and Morrisons' context actively undermines its premium tier at every turn. Then there is the private equity problem. Since Clayton Dubilier and Rice's £7 billion leveraged buyout in 2021, Morrisons has been carrying approximately £6.6 billion in debt, the highest of any UK supermarket. When a retailer is carrying that level of debt, investment in quality is permanently competing with debt servicing. The in-store bakeries that once made Morrisons distinctive are now largely bake-off operations, heating frozen dough rather than making bread from scratch. The trained butcher counters are being replaced with pre-packaged central facility products. The things that made Morrisons genuinely special are being methodically dismantled to service a private equity balance sheet. The best sits at number 7 because its meat is genuinely excellent and deserves to be recognized. But a range that excels in one category and underdelivers in its context, its breadth, and its store environment cannot rank higher. The potential is real. The execution is right now in decline. Number 6. Tesco Finest. Tesco Finest is the largest premium own-label range in British retail. Launched in 1998, expanded significantly in early 2025, around 400 new products added, bringing the total to somewhere between around 1,500 and 1,900 SKUs. It has had more time, more investment, and more shelf space than any competitor on this list. That scale is both its greatest strength and its most fundamental weakness. On the strength side, range. Whatever you're cooking, whatever occasion you're shopping for, Tesco Finest almost certainly has a product for it. The club card pricing scheme also makes the range meaningfully more accessible than its headline price suggests. In real terms, Finest is the premium tier that most British households can actually afford to use regularly. That accessibility matters, and it shouldn't be dismissed. On the weakness side, scale creates inconsistency, and inconsistency is the enemy of a premium proposition. When you're running close to 1,900 products under a single quality banner, not all of them can be excellent, and they aren't. Consumer surveys reach for the word reliable when describing Tesco Finest. That is the kind of compliment that damns with faint praise. Reliable is not the word you want from a range called Finest. There's also a strategic contradiction at the core of Tesco's entire offer that the Finest range can't escape. Tesco has simultaneously committed heavily to its Aldi price match initiative, aggressively competing on value across hundreds of standard lines. Running a price match with the cheapest supermarket strategy and a luxury tier strategy in the same store on the same visit sends a mixed signal to the shopper. It is very difficult to feel like you're buying something genuinely special when 3 aisles away, the same retailer is loudly telling you it's competing with Aldi. The 2025 relaunch and expansion of around 400 new SKUs signals that Tesco recognizes the range needs reinvestment. Whether that expansion delivers a genuine quality uplift or simply more products of variable quality is something that will take time to establish. For now, Finest lands at number 6. The biggest range, a loyal following, useful club card economics, but not yet delivering the consistent excellence the name implies. Number 5. Sainsbury's Taste the Difference. Sainsbury's Taste the Difference occupies the most interesting middle position of any range on this list. Not as expansive as Tesco Finest, not as cheap as the discounters, not as prestigious as M&S or Waitrose, and yet it consistently generates the most genuinely warm word of mouth of any Big Four premium tier. Here's why. Taste the Difference has a clearer ingredient philosophy than Tesco Finest. The range is built around natural ingredients and fewer additives, and that decision shows up in the eating. Shoppers specifically note that it's better tasting and less over-sweetened than Tesco's equivalent. When you're paying a meaningful premium, you don't want something that tastes like a processed product wearing a Posh label. You want something that tastes like someone actually cared about what went into it. And across several categories, Taste the Difference delivers that. The fresh fruit and vegetables draw consistent praise. The Nectar loyalty scheme integrates well with the premium tier, making the pricing feel more reasonable than the raw ticket suggests. And the range performs well in independent testing in specific categories, particularly where ingredient simplicity and quality sourcing are the differentiating factors. The negatives are real, though. There is the identical supplier problem, not unique to Sainsbury's, but particularly well documented here. Investigations have confirmed that some Taste the Difference products share production plants, ingredient lists, and nutritional profiles with budget range equivalents, with the only observable difference being packaging and a markup of up to 55 pence. When that is the reality behind the premium label, the Taste the Difference claim shifts from description to aspiration. The Guardian's review of the Taste the Difference lasagna is worth noting here, specifically its criticism of chalky meat and gluey bechamel. A lasagna is a flagship product for a flagship range. If it isn't exceptional, questions about consistency across the broader range are legitimate. Taste the Difference at number 5. Better than it's given credit for, particularly in fresh produce and natural ingredients, genuinely preferred by a meaningful portion of British food shoppers, but undermined by inconsistency and the shadow of shared sourcing with the standard range. Number 4. Lidl Deluxe. Here is where the ranking changes character, because from this point upwards, we are talking about ranges that are delivering on their premium claims with hard, measurable evidence from independent sources. Lidl Deluxe does something that should be commercially impossible. It competes with ranges priced twice as high and, in specific categories, wins outright. Start with the industry recognition. Lidl Deluxe was named Fresh Produce Retailer of the Year in 2024. Its lightly smoked Scottish salmon fillets won gold at the Quality Food Awards, a competition judged by professional chefs tasting blind, with no knowledge of which supermarket produced any given product. In wine and spirits, the Deluxe range has performed with particular distinction. The Lidl Deluxe French brandy XO and rhubarb and ginger gin liqueur received significant accolades at the International Wine and Spirit Competition, a prestigious, commercially independent body. Those aren't marketing claims from Lidl's communications team. They are third-party endorsements from judges who have no relationship with the brand. Then there's the broader consumer reality. The discounter acceptance curve has shifted decisively in Lidl's favour over the past 5 years. Younger shoppers and increasingly price-conscious middle-class consumers no longer perceive a quality trade-off when they choose Deluxe. The stigma that once came with shopping at a German discounter has gone. What replaced it is something far harder to manufacture, actual evidence of quality, repeated across multiple independent tests and competitions. The weaknesses of Deluxe are structural rather than qualitative. Like Aldi, Lidl operates a limited SKU model. Approximately 400 Deluxe products means you cannot complete a full premium shop at Lidl. You will fill gaps elsewhere. And the store environment, while considerably improved from its reputation of a decade ago, still doesn't offer the sensory experience that makes a premium purchase feel like a premium occasion. Lidl Deluxe at number 4. For wine, spirits, salmon and seasonal European specialties, there is a genuine case that this is the best value premium range in the country. Its limitation is breadth, not quality. Number 3. M&S Collection. M&S Collection has held the highest customer satisfaction score for food quality among all UK supermarkets for several years, according to the Institute of Customer Service. That indicates structural excellence, not a good run. Here is where the collection range wins specifically. Complex, multi-component products, ready meals, desserts, anything where the quality of the outcome depends on investment in recipe architecture over a sustained period of development. The M&S Gastropub ready meal range, the best ever lasagna, the chunky chicken soups, is the category benchmark for premium convenience in British retail. It consistently scores 5-star ratings from Which for own-label product quality. In the same blind taste assessment where Aldi won 7 categories, M&S won 4, including pesto and lasagna, precisely the multi-ingredient products where development investment shows up in the eating. The collection range also wins on ethics and sourcing in a way that few competitors can match. M&S was one of the first major UK grocers to have fully signed the Better Chicken commitment, contractually mandating more space, natural light and slower growing breeds across its supply chain. The product recall rate is among the lowest in the British grocery industry. Ethical supply chain compliance is consistently high. These are not marketing claims, they are audited, contractual commitments. The range depth is also exceptional. Up to 6,000 M&S products are accessible via the Ocado partnership, meaning the SKU limitations that constrain Aldi and Lidl simply don't apply here. You can do your entire premium shop within M&S. And the store environment, the M&S food hall experience, is among the most considered and deliberate in British retail. Buying a collection product in an M&S store reinforces the quality of what's inside the packaging. The context enhances the product. The honest criticism of M&S collection is price. It is expensive, it has never pretended otherwise. But for that price, you are buying remarkable consistency, category-leading innovation, genuine welfare standards, and specifically in ready meals and desserts, the strongest eating experience available from any supermarket own-label range in the UK. M&S collection at number 3. In any category involving recipe complexity and development investment, it is the standard everything else is measured against. It sits at 3 rather than 2 because Waitrose edges it on provenance credentials and ethical supply chain depth, but on sheer eating quality and innovation, very little in British retail touches it. Number 2. Waitrose number 1. Waitrose number 1 is the most expensive premium range in British supermarket retail. A Waitrose basket can run 34% higher than Aldi for a comparable shop. Number 1 sits above even Waitrose's own standard range. You will pay more here than anywhere else on this list. That needs to be said plainly at the start. And it is number 2 for reasons that have nothing to do with snobbery and everything to do with what the price is actually funding. Waitrose number 1 leads the UK market on provenance certification, and this is not a close contest. It holds more products carrying protected designation of origin and protected geographical indication status than any other premium range. These are not marketing labels. PDO certification is a legally enforced guarantee requiring every stage of production, ingredients, processing, preparation to take place in a specific geographic region using traditional methods audited by a third party. When a number 1 product lists Kalamata olive oil PDO or a specific Italian cheese with GI status, that is a legally binding ingredient claim. Not an aspiration, not a brand story, a verifiable fact about what is in the product. The supply chain ethics sit alongside this. Waitrose achieved really high compliance in Groceries Code Adjudicator assessment. Its treatment of suppliers is more transparent and more consistently fair than any other retailer on this list. The ethics run the full length of the chain, from the producer relationship to the packaging to the welfare standards on the farm. The 30-day dry-aged beef Côte de Boeuf won gold at the Quality Food Awards. The brown butter mince pies with cognac are consistently among the highest-rated seasonal products in the UK. The wine selection within number 1 is the most comprehensive of any UK grocery premium range, with award-winning bottles across multiple price points. Fresh organic strawberries and raspberries under the number 1 banner are rated as a recommended provider in multiple independent fresh produce assessments. And then there's the store environment. The Waitrose food hall, the cheese counter, the fish counter, the meat counter, all staffed by people who know the products, creates a shopping experience that functions closer to a specialist independent than a supermarket. The physical act of buying a number 1 product feels appropriate to the product. That coherence from supply chain to shelf to consumer is very difficult to manufacture and very easy to underestimate. Consumer sentiment reflects all of this. Waitrose shoppers don't typically talk about number 1 in terms of value. They know it's expensive and they've made peace with that. They talk about trust, knowing where the food came from, believing the ingredient story, knowing that the welfare claim on the front of the pack is backed by an actual contractual commitment rather than a marketing department's judgment about what sounds good. Waitrose number 1 at number 2. If provenance, ethics, and the full premium shopping experience are what you're paying for, there is nothing else in British retail that does this as completely or as rigorously. It sits at 2 rather than 1 for a single reason. The range below it is beating it in blind taste tests at half the price. That is a fact Waitrose's marketing team would prefer you didn't know. Now you do. Number 1. Aldi Specially Selected. The evidence on Aldi Specially Selected at this point is not easy to argue against. In a comprehensive independent assessment of 26 staple food categories, Aldi won 7 separate blind taste tests. That's 7 category wins, including steak pies and orange juice, and the testers did not know the products were from Aldi. The 36-day dry-aged sirloin steak won gold at the Quality Food Awards. The cheese bake with red fox and sweet chili received a 2-star rating at the Great Taste Awards, where the judges are professional chefs evaluating products completely blind. And then there are the mince pies. This is worth pausing on because it is representative of what Specially Selected does across the range. In a 2024 to 2025 assessment of Christmas staples, Aldi's all-butter mince pies won the category outright, scoring 4 out of 5 stars. They beat both M and S Collection and Waitrose number 1 on sensory performance. The Waitrose equivalent, a product positioned at the very top of British retail premium, was specifically criticised for a jammy filling that lacked texture. Aldi's was praised for its zingy mincemeat and buttery pastry, at less than half the price. That is not an anomaly. It is a pattern that repeats across the blind test data. A product from a German discounter priced for the mass market, performing against the prestige labels of British premium retail. Repeatedly. Now look at the price context. Aldi's overall grocery basket is often verified to run at 34% cheaper than Waitrose for a comparable range of items. The Specially Selected tier sits above Aldi's standard range, but still well below M and S and Waitrose on price. What you are getting is award-winning product quality at a fraction of the cost of the ranges it is beating. That is not a complicated value calculation. Yes, the store environment is functional rather than aspirational. Yes, roughly 400 SKUs means you'll need to fill gaps elsewhere. Yes. Waitrose number 1 has more provenance certifications and M&S Collection has more ready meal awards. Those are real limitations and they are real strengths in those rivals. But here is the question this ranking is built to answer. Which range delivers the best premium food quality for the money you actually hand over? Not which range has the nicest shop floor, not which range has the most PDO, protected designation of origin stickers, which range wins blind taste tests against ranges that cost twice the price, collects gold awards from professional chef judges who don't know what brand they're tasting, and then charges you half of what the competition would. That answer is Aldi Specially Selected. Number 1, based entirely on the evidence. The prestige labels spend more on marketing. Aldi spends it on the food. That's the ranking. Worst to best based on the evidence, not the label. You know what you're buying now. Use it to your advantage.